ever, like, totally messed up? And I don't mean just a little slip up. I mean, like, really messed up and had to sit down and be like, okay, what went wrong here? So you don't, do it again.
Oh, yeah, we've all been there.
Right. So get this. What if AI could do that? Like, really analyze its own screw-ups and learn from them?
That's actually what we're diving into today.
No way.
Yeah, there's this new paper. It's called Reflection, Language Agents with Verbal Reinforcement Learning. And it's all about making AI smarter, not by, like, humans going in and messing with code, but by letting it learn from experience. Kind of like, us.
Hold on. So instead of, like, us tweaking the algorithm or whatever,
Yeah.
the AI is leaving itself, like, notes.
Exactly.
Okay, but, like...
It's this whole internal dialogue. The researchers call it verbal reflection.
So it's writing in a little diary. Don't forget the milk.
Yeah, but for complex tasks, it's more like the AI tries something, right? And if it fails, it's like it jots down what happened, why it thinks it went wrong.
Okay.
And those reflections actually make it better over time.
All right, I got to ask, how does this even work? Like, we can't just give an AI a diary and be like, all right, start reflecting. There's got to be more to it than that, right?
There is, but it's actually pretty elegant in a way.
Right.
They break it down into 3 parts. There's the actor, the evaluator, and then the self-reflection component.
Okay, so the actor.
The actor is basically the AI in action.
Got it. So, like, if it's playing a game...
Playing a game, writing code, whatever it's doing, that's the actor.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Then what's the evaluator do?
So the evaluator, that's like the judge. It's watching the actor constantly, seeing how well it's doing. Like, did it win the game? Did it write good code? Did it solve the problem? And it gives feedback to let the AI know, hey, you messed up, or hey, you did great.
Okay, so we've got the AI doing its thing. We've got the judge keeping score. Now, how does it actually, like, learn?
Right. So that's where the self-reflection comes in. And this is where it gets really cool. The AI, it doesn't just get a pass or fail. It actually sits down, like, why did I fail?
Yeah.
And writes a little note, like a Post-it, and sticks it in its memory.
Hold on. So give me an example. Like, let's say it's trying to, I don't know, make a virtual sandwich or something.
Perfect example. So say it tries to grab a virtual knife, right?
Yeah.
It just goes right through its hand. The evaluator's going to be like, nope, you failed. But now the AI has to figure out, okay, why couldn't I grab the knife? And it might come up with something like, object not grasped. Need to adjust grip strength next time.
Oh, so it's literally like figuring out where its logic broke down and how to fix it for next time.
Exactly.
That's wild. But does it actually, like, work?
Oh, they tested the heck out of it.
Okay, how?
They threw 3 big challenges at it. One was decision-making in these, like, virtual worlds. Then there was complex reason, like answering really tough questions. And then the big one, programming.
Programming. Like actually writing code.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So how do you even start testing that? Like, where do you even begin?
Well, they use these virtual environments called AlfWorld.
AlfWorld.
Yeah, AlfWorld. Picture like a virtual obstacle course, but for AI.
Yeah.
So imagine, like, your kitchen. The AI has to figure out how to make a cup of coffee. But it's never actually seen a coffee maker before.
Okay, I relate to that struggle. And how did the AI with this whole reflection thing do?
Way better than traditional AI. It wasn't just completing more tasks.
Oh.
It started to avoid repeating the same mistakes. That self-reflection was doing its job.
So it's not just trying stuff until something sticks. It's like, hold on, I've seen this before. Dead end.
Right.
Okay, that's pretty amazing. What else did they test?
So then they hit it with this massive question answering challenge.
Well, like what?
They used this data set called Hot Pot QA. Think those super specific trivia questions, the ones where you have to dig through tons of information to find the answer, except that AI's is the one doing the digging.
So, like, if I asked it to compare the, I don't know, economic policies of 2 random kings from, like, the 1700s?
Think even harder.
Oh, no.
It's more like, what's the connection between the director of the 3rd highest grossing animated film, like, ever, and the lead singer of that band you vaguely remember from when you were a kid?
Oh, wow.
Like, it takes real reasoning, not just keyword matching.
And it could, like, handle that. The AI with reflection?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I'm starting to feel a little inadequate here.
You and me both, right. But across the board, whether it was finding the answers itself or actually, like, reasoning through information, reflection, it helped. Like, big-time accuracy jumps.
Okay, so it can handle, like, virtual tasks. It can handle knowledge questions.
Yeah.
But the real test, right, programming. Did they actually set this thing loose on code?
They did.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and not just like write me a simple script stuff. They use like the hard stuff.
Hmm.
Human Evil, MBPP even created a new benchmark called Leet Code Hard Gym just to really see what it could do.
Weed Code Hard Gym. That sounds like intimidating. Even the name makes me want to drop out of coding boot camp.
Right. It's tough. But Reflection, it actually did really well. Even beat out like some of the top AI programmers out there.
Wait, really? Like what?
Yeah, like even GPT-4 on certain tasks.
No way. Okay, how did they even decide if the AI was writing good code? Was there like a panel of like grumpy senior developers judging its syntax?
Even better, unit tests.
Okay.
So built into the code, you have these little mini tests that basically check if things are working right, pass the test, good. Fail, time for reflection. Ah, okay. So if the AI's code failed those tests, that's when it would trigger that whole verbal reflection process, right? Like figure out why your code's busted.
Exactly.
Okay. Which actually, that highlights something really important about reflection. It's only as good as its ability to evaluate itself.
Oh, okay.
Like, if it's got bad feedback,
yeah.
then the reflections aren't going to help much, right? Because, like, in real life, if I'm getting terrible advice, my reflection on that terrible advice isn't going to do me any good.
Right.
But when it works, when it gets good feedback and it can reflect on it, it actually starts to learn to code better
Yes.
on its own.
On its own. It's not like mimicking human programmers. It's developing its own like problem-solving process. Okay, see, this is what I think is so cool about this. We're not just talking about AI following instructions anymore. This is AI learning to think for itself. I mean, what are the implications of that?
Yeah.
That's got to be huge.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, AI that can debug its own code, write even better code than we thought possible.
Oh, or like self-driving cars, like they get into a near miss and instead of just like reacting to what we told it to do, it actually learns from that. It gets better.
Right. Think about science. AI analyzing huge amounts of data. It spots patterns that, we don't even see. It designs experiments.
Okay, hold on though.
Yeah.
As cool as all this is, there's got to be some limitations here, right? Like AI is not going to wake up tomorrow and write like a symphony, right? Or is it?
Well, I mean, maybe not symphonies just yet, but you're right. It's still early. One of the big hurdles right now is memory.
Oh, okay.
AI memory is kind of like, imagine cramming for an exam.
Okay.
Good for the short term, but it doesn't really stick around long term.
So it can like memorize a bunch of stuff really quickly, but it doesn't actually learn, like retain that information long term.
Yeah. It needs that more robust memory system, something that can actually hold on to those aha moments, build up that real knowledge base.
Like our brains. Like how I can still remember that one like really embarrassing coding mistake I made back in college.
Exactly.
And I use that to not make those same mistakes.
Right.
It needs that kind of long-term learning.
And that's a huge area of research right now.
Really?
How to give AI that kind of like deeper, more interconnected memory.
Wow. Okay, so memory's one hurdle. What else is keeping this reflection thing from, world domination? Just kidding, kind of.
Yeah.
But like, seriously, what else?
The other big thing is still that self-evaluation part.
Oh.
Remember, it's only as good as its ability to judge its own work. Like if it doesn't recognize that there's a flaw, it can't fix it, right?
So it's got to have some sense of like what good even looks like.
Exactly.
Which is hard even for us humans to figure out sometimes, right? So how do we like make sure the AI is judging itself by the right standards?
That's where like the design and the training comes in, right?
Okay.
You got to make sure that its values, what it thinks is important, lines up with ours.
Right.
Kind of like, raising a kid, right? You want to instill good values so they can make good judgments on their own.
That's true. And that's where things get like, I don't know, less about the technical and more, I don't know, philosophical, right?
Yeah.
Like what does it mean for an AI to make good decisions? And who gets to decide that? But before we go full matrix on this whole thing, there's one other thing that I thought was interesting from the paper. And this is the idea that this whole reflection thing could actually help us understand ourselves better. So this whole reflection thing, right? AI learning from its mistakes, using language, like reflecting, makes you wonder if it could, I don't know, help us understand like intelligence better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like maybe by studying AI that learns like us, we learn something about how our brains work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the most exciting things about this whole field, right? It's not just about building smarter machines. It's about holding up a mirror,
Yeah.
using them to understand ourselves better. Like, what is consciousness? What is creativity? What does it even mean to be human?
So you're saying if we can teach a machine to think like us, maybe we'll finally figure out how we do
Oh,
it.
exactly. Like, imagine if you could actually see the AI forming those verbal reflections.
Okay.
Could we learn something about how our own, like, inner voice, our own self-talk shapes the way we learn and make decisions?
It's kind of trippy when you think about it, right? Like we might learn more about human intelligence by studying like artificial intelligence.
Right. It's this really cool feedback loop. We're inspired by the human brain to build AI, and now AI is giving us new tools to understand the brain.
Full circle. Like what is that? A snake eating its own tail,
Yeah.
but like in a good way.
In a good way, definitely. And this research with reflection, it shows just how important language is, self-reflection to how we learn as humans.
Which honestly, we totally take for granted. Like we just do it. But seeing AI struggle with it, it makes you realize, wow, there's a lot going on up there.
Totally. And the more advanced AI gets, the more it can teach us about ourselves.
So cool. But I'm curious, what's the big question? The one that's going to keep the researchers up at night when it comes to reflection? What do you think?
I think for me, it always comes back to that question of like real understanding, because right now, reflection, it relies on those little snippets of language, the verbal reflections. But is that like true understanding, or is it just a really good mimicry of it?
So is it actually getting it?
Yeah.
Or is it just following a set of rules that it learned really well?
Exactly. And if it's not really understanding, then how do we get it there? How do we take it to that next level?
That's a great question. And I don't think anybody really knows the answer. But hey, that's what makes this whole field so interesting, right? It's like there's always more to discover.
For sure.
Well, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for, breaking all this down for us and for giving us even more to think about. And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. If you're as fascinated by reflection as we are, well, there's a whole world out there to explore. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to figure out the secrets of the AI mind. Until next time.